Hey guys, welcome back to Master Gaming Studios. I'm Craig, and today we're going to talk about the Tyranid Termagant, the new one. Once again, we're going to dive into the datasheet just a little bit and see what we can learn from looking at the new model and at the datasheet, see if we can pick out any clues going into 10th edition. Before we get into it, I just want to mention this will be a shorter video, mainly because tomorrow, time you're watching this, we'll have our live stream. It's going to be a Tyranid tier ranking in the Arcs of Omen meta, see how things are evolving there. We are also celebrating our 2 years since our very first video here on the channel, our old original tier ranking. So we're doing a little birthday celebration. It'll be a live stream at, put the link here. Oh, there you go. So that's why the setup is the way it is, just because we're getting ready for that. And yeah, we'd love to see you guys come hang out. We'll just chat, whatever, go through the tier ranking and have a good time for a couple hours. 3 p.m. US Central Time. Hopefully we do it that way. We can catch the UK people, and we can catch the UK Europe people in the US time, maybe get a little bit of both, and if not, you can watch it after the fact, and it still should hopefully be something fun to watch. So with all the way, thank you guys for watching this. Thank you members for supporting us. Here are many of them. You'll see the rest at the end. Check out those links in the description down below, and let's dive into this video. So first off, we're just going to talk about the look a little bit. As you can see, we have the generation of the Termagant. We have first, second, and now third gen of the Termagant. The old metal model, the plastic model that's been around for almost 20 years or something like that. And now the new one we are getting. I really like the new version that's coming out. It looks more dynamic. Its back is, you know, it has more detail to it. Its arms have more detail. They're not just tubes that have some grooves in them. These are actually look like muscle. You can see the muscle definition. They look like arms. They have, you know, claws and hooves that are not just, you know, they're not just there at the end of the feet. Mainly the definition in the model just stands out. And then of course you can see the little guy on the left here, the original one. He's a cute little model, but that is what it is. You can see just how the Termgant has evolved over the many years. So I just wanted to take a little look at it again. What's your favorite part of the new Termgant? Let me know down in the comments below. But let me get into the big thing, and we're going to talk about the datasheet mainly that GW has launched. Now technically, GW has put out 2 datasheets, which is interesting. We have 2, you can see the one on the left and the right. So the one on the left, it's got a movement, it's got a toughness, you can see a save, a wound, a leadership, and an OC stat. And then in the ranged, we've got 3 different ranged weapons, the ones we all know and love. We have its claws and teeth, and we got keywords, faction keywords, and special rules there. Talk about more of those in a second. But on the right, we have another one, all the same, well, not even quite the same stats, but similar stats for the Termagants. It gets an extra leadership, a worse leadership. Not exactly sure how that works for sure. But we also have the Ripper Swarm added onto there. So we have Flesh Borers only, and then we have Termagant Claws and Teeth and Ripper Claws and Teeth. And again, the special rules, the keywords are all different. I mean, some of them are the same, but there are different ones in here. And yes, the abilities are different. Now, there's 2 reasons. Well, actually, there's 1 reason why I can think this is going to be the case. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. The one on the left must be from the codex or index, whatever we're going to be calling it, for the Tyranids and all the armies that are going to get their rules right away. It's got to be. It's got to be a Codex basic one. This is the Termagant. These are its details. This is what you can see. It only includes the Termagants. It has every weapon option, and it's got a pretty unique special rule. The one on the right, my gut, is that this is from the Combat Patrol box. And the reason it's going to be like this, which is going to be a weird state for GW to be in, is they are going to have 2 versions of the Termagants live when 10th edition drops. I don't know, maybe they will, but I'm not convinced they're going to re-release a Tyranid combat patrol box right away. They're going to leave the combat patrol as it is. So you're going to have old style Termagants, which kind of sucks in a way. Old style Termagants from combat patrol. And you'll have the launch box and everything else will have new style Termagants. The old style Termagants we all know and love come with a Ripper Swarm base. And I bet they're going to play this out as you're going to have 3 squads of Termagants. You take them as 3 individual squads, and each squad has a Ripper Swarm that is accompanied with it as part of the unit. Again, GW did a whole part of an article about how they plan to make all of the combat patrol boxes balanced amongst themselves. So you can play combat patrol, which is not just make up a 500-point army as it is. It is take the combat patrol box, pit it up against another combat patrol box, and then they should be balanced. I don't know how it's going to work because you got the Tyranids where you've got, your little Rippers and Termagants, but then you've got a Hive Tyrant. And other ones, like the Space Wolf one, you've got a Redemptor and some Marines, but the Hive Tyrant could easily cleave through all of those on his own. So I don't know how well balanced it's going to be, but that's got to be the reason why we have 2 different data sheets. It's going to be a weird thing where your Termagants in one box are going to be old and have different rules than your Termagants in the new box. When it comes to the actual codex, it's all one thing, but I have a sneaky suspicion that GW is going to be in a weird spot for a little bit. Maybe they'll update it, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about this. Do you think GW is actually going to have it to have 2 different rules? They're going to operate like 2 different models and data sheets essentially, just between combat patrol and not. So that's what I think about the 2 data sheets that have shown up. Now, when we dig into this more official or the Termagant standalone data sheet, there's a lot we can actually learn about 9th edition going forward, at least from maybe a Tyranid perspective more than anything else. First off, the couple things we notice is objective control is now what we know OC to mean. It wasn't mentioned originally, but it has been clarified that OC stands for objective control, and it is the number of models they count as when holding an objective. OBSEC is going to be gone, so that is what the OC stat stands for here. We can also notice that the weapon types are more or less the same. You have your assault and your pistol weapons, like we knew, but they also have, if those of you who are an older, more veteran player, Twin Linked is back. If you guys played from 8th edition onward, you guys you've never seen Twin Linked as an official rule, but the way this one worked, I believe there was 2 different variants of it. Again, rules get mixed up in my head, is that it technically was, you got full rerolls to hit just on your own. It was counting like you're shooting 2 guns, so you would shoot one of them, but it got full rerolls to symbolize you having 2 of them. That makes sense. Now the interesting thing here is the Spine Fist does still have 2 shots. So is it Twin Linked, they get 2 shots and full rerolls? Is it just symbolizing double shots on top of it? We don't know. But Twin Linked is coming back as a weapon profile, which is going to be interesting. And there we can also notice that they can stack assault and pistol weapons on top as the same weapon. Which is interesting. You can have assault pistol now and not just an assault or a pistol weapon. So that's pretty cool there. Leadership is changing again. It changes every edition. They can't quite figure out which one they like. Is this coming back to the old 2d6 roll? Maybe a leadership 8+ is you have to roll, or maybe they fail on a roll greater than 8+ when they have to take a leadership check. So rolling 2d6, on a roll of greater than 8, they fail. Maybe there's modifiers based on how it comes. Not sure. It's going to be an interesting little, interesting thing to learn. But leadership is obviously changing, being Termagants having an 8+, and knowing Termagants are supposed to be one of the lowest leadership models in the game. Some other things we can note. Endless Multitude is back as a keyword. So that is one thing we can know, or kind of infer, is that they're not straying drastically from the codex we know. Keeping an Endless Multitude keyword on our Hormagaunts, I presume they will be on our Hormagaunts, our Gargoyles, and if we do truly get a new Gaunt type, they might have it as well. So we can tell that maybe this isn't a full hard reset relearn everything you did, but maybe more of a, okay, we're going to take our 9th edition codex and we might streamline everything just a little bit, but keep things more or less how they were. Interesting to note. We also can notice that adrenal glands and toxin sacs are not on this data sheet. They mentioned that all the rules for the model will be on this data card. My assumption would be if there was an upgrade they could take, like adrenal glands and toxin sacs, that would be somewhere on this data sheet. I could be wrong. I could be very wrong, but I guess I would have thought, maybe that I would have thought that it would have been on here. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe not, but that's something to think of. Also, I don't have a specific portion about this, but their skulking horrors special rule seems pretty cool. Once per turn, when an enemy unit ends a normal, advance, or fallback move within 9 inches of this unit, if this unit is not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units, it can make a normal move of up to d6 inches. It's a little swingy. They can move 1 inch, they can move 6 inches, but if you're smart with it, there's a lot of things you can do with this. You can get onto an objective, get off an objective, get into cover, get behind the line of sight maybe. That one might be trickier to pull off, but a lot of things you can do with that little ability, and it's turning Termagants not just into these flesh walls as we know them with the Termagant, but more of a guerrilla fighting, shooting shock troop. Well, guerrilla and shock troop are but more of a guerrilla fighter in terms of melee infantry, and probably more away from the large horde of 30 that we know and love. So interesting things just to think about. Let me know again in comments what you think about these. The next thing is we're just going to do a quick little damage comparison. It's way too early to do it, but looking at the Flesh Boar, the Devourer, and the Spine Fist, the 3 weapons we have in here, on average, after you roll to hit, wound, and a Marine takes what I assume is a 3-up armor save. The Flesh Boar from Termgant, you do 1 wound. Whoop-de-doo. The Devourer does 2 wounds. You kill 1, assuming Marines still have the 2 wounds. And the Spine Fist does 1 wound. If they get the full rerolls, they do 2 wounds. So who knows? Right then and there, without knowing the full rules of twin linked and pistol assault, whatever they are, we don't know for sure again. But it looks like the Devourer is just the better option. Who knows? Again, it's against a Marine, so maybe they're thinking the trade-off of strength versus number of shots. Are there going to be points associated with all these? We don't know. It doesn't say on the data sheet, but I guess I would be surprised if there were. So again, just pointing out a little tiny damage comp, how these little guys do. Still not much in the shooting phase as expected. So that's all we've got. We've got the, as GW is now calling it, the 4th Tyrannical War is underway soon. It is going to be the Marines coming in the Pacifica Segmentum Pacifica. I'm not really a lore guy, I'll be honest with you. I just love the models and everything. So we've got our new logo. We've got what might be our new HQ winged beastie thing. Alternative to the Flyrant, who knows for sure. Is it just a Flyrant? We don't know, we'll have to find out. And we've got new Termagants at least coming this way. So that's all I got today. Again, just a short video seeing what we can kind of learn from the 10th edition datasheet of the Termagants that we already know. Pick into it, investigate, see what we can find out. Again, thank you to all of our members and everyone who's watching. Check out that live stream tomorrow at 3 p.m. Put a little notification on there so you can see it when we go live, and we'd love to have as many of you as possible there to celebrate with us. So with all that out of the way, we'll catch you tomorrow on our live stream. Thanks for watching.